Hey everyone, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Ted, and today I'm joined by...
Nerdarchy Dave.
And today we're going to do another review of Campaign 2, Episode 18 of Critical Role. Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So what are we on, like session 18 now?
Session 18 of Campaign 2, Critical Role. As always, there's spoilers, guys.
Yes, so if you haven't seen it by now, it's been weeks. I don't know. Go watch it, then you can check this out. So we start right off with action with a fight, but we knew we were going to because, basically at the end of last session, it was roll initiative. Here's a hill giant. So we knew it was going to be a tough fight. I was like, ooh, hill giant. That's a lot of damage.
Hill giant after two fights with no chance of a short rest. And they weren't exactly easy fights to begin with. They fought an Adiog and two Winter Wolves prior to this with just a little bit of time to, sew themselves back together. And I'm like, all right, this is going to be rough. And when that hill giant finally gets that first punch in, it's one and done. Molly goes down.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, ooh, when he threw the stone at Caleb, luckily he had cover and he was able to use the shield spell, so he was able to defend himself against that.
Yeah, I thought Caleb was done right off the bat there.
But shield umbrella to the rescue.
And Caleb actually, Liam tried to be like, no, wait, that only brings it to a 19. He had forgotten that, he had cover.
Yes.
So it was like, all right, that was a saving grace. And I thought Matt did a good job. Like, no, you got the cover and you got the shield spell. So you're good.
Now, I didn't go and look at the hill giant hit points, and I think he was using a special hill giant anyway.
Yeah, because it actually had a legendary action.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's one in the Volo's guide or not. I don't have them all memorized, guys. Believe it or not. But it did seem like it didn't have like the normal hit points to me. Like a hill giant to me, any giant really. I'm thinking unless you're an ogre, it's probably over 100 hit points.
Yeah, I would think you're going triple digits on something like that,
or close to it.
Just because of the sheer mass of those creatures.
And I felt like my dirty math was like put them more close to like the 60 to 80 range for the amount of damage done.
I don't usually sit there and tabulate, but I do try to keep an eye out. There are a lot of times that while watching, I will totally nerd out and pull out the books. But when he started talking about a hill giant with legendary actions, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to let this one slide and see where this goes.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a tough fight, and then like I guess the gamist to me can't just when they do things, I'm like, why is not shooting and not using his bonus action to hide first to get the sneak attack damage, or when they finally put the giant down with the sleep spell, I'm like, why on earth would you have Beau be the one to hit it? Like literally, there's at least two other people in the party that hit harder.
I was literally shocked when the sleep spell actually worked, and I think Liam was as well as like I think
everybody was.
I think he's like, I wasn't expecting that to work.
Yeah.
So the giant goes down, and I was right there with you. I'm like, all right, tabulating up. All right, it's gonna be Nott or it's gonna be Yasha, and they're like, oh, let's give it to Beau, and I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, Yasha swings, her greatsword, 2d6 sometimes plus her Aasimar bonus. You've got Nott, who's going to be rolling, with a crossbow and 2d6 sneak attack damage. It should be Nott. Nott should, line that crossbow up right to this thing's eye and go boom. That's going to be 6d6, plus her dex mod. That could do it. Why not that?
So they did. And then, and then they had to kind of like do a little bit of a retraction because they meant to do kind of like a ready action to all pounce it on at once. And I assume that's what they were doing anyway, but they didn't actually like state it. So Matt's like, next time you got to let me know you're doing that.
Every GM is going to handle things differently. And when you've got a solo monster and everybody standing, this is where I'm like, all right, I'm going to hand wave. I'm not going to have you roll off. You decide you want to off this thing. It's done. You got advantage. You can go over there. Stabby, stabby, slicey, slicey. It's chopped meat.
Well, at that point, it's incapacitated too. So I think the rule is like it's like an auto crit.
Yeah, it's an auto crit and advantage because it's down for anything in melee. I'm
just meat.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you all time your attacks and say 3, 2, 1, go. you blenderify this thing's throat and face and what have you.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't just call the match. Like, I was kind of waiting for that as well.
Well, I mean, that was something, and they did. They turned to Matt and be like, all right, they look out into the stands. The rulers, didn't call the match, and Matt specifically says that. It's like, they didn't call it, so they have to literally kill the thing.
What a waste. What a waste from the city of Zadash. They could have used that giant later on for more entertainment, but no!
That's true. So, they win the match.
Then
next,
it's party time.
Well, they have the second match, which winds up being, the other adventuring group, which survived round 2, that try to recruit Yasha. They fight a clipped wyvern, however you want to pronounce it. It basically can't fly, and it beats the crap out of them pretty hard. But they wind up surviving, and they then get to divide the winnings amongst the two groups.
Yeah, they each end up with like 1,600 or something. It's a decent amount. Wolverine poison is no joke.
No.
That's for sure. Wyvern, Wolverine, I know I'm probably saying it wrong. You guys will let me know in the comments. Nerd rage.
Well, you could head over to D&D Beyond and click the little soundbite, which will tell you exactly how to pronounce it.
I would still pronounce it wrong anyway. I'm just old and set in my ways. Now party time?
So now it's party time. They find out that after the match, the winners get to go to this, victor's party, and there's a lot of chit-chatting and a lot of things going on. They see Dolan with, the people in command, and they see, some of the wizards from the tower, and this is when Caleb kind of starts to, get a little nervous and try to decide, all right, I think it's my cue to head out. And
yeah, he kind of fades to the back, but at the same time, like they're like, oh well, we need to talk to the headmaster for the Halls of Erudition. We need to see if we can find out information, see what's going on, and then that's kind of like when we're introduced to what is it, Armid Haz is the character's name, as well as Trent Ikathon.
Right, and this is we later learn a little bit more about.
It's a big it's kind of a big deal. But they decided to have Beau and Yasha do the talking to them, and so obviously having Yasha do as your front man is really bad, or front woman as the case may be, really bad idea. She's kind of like painfully honest, and straightforward,
painfully honest. Not willing to share details about her background, which I'm kind of curious as to what's going on with her story.
And there's no subterfuge there either. It's just like, it's none of your business.
It's like, yeah, I'm not telling you that.
And then also the NPCs, they were kind of seemed pretty interested in her because of where she was from.
Right, and I mean, I don't know whether Aasimars in this world are considered, something special or not. I mean, clearly there's 2 tieflings in the party that don't have any issues, walking around.
Yeah, no one bats an eye. The goblin hides their identity, but the tiefling's no problem.
Exactly.
As it should be.
So we then enter into this, long, drawn out period that I at one point in time is being referred to as the library episode, as they bounce from, different conversation, to different conversation. Not learning a whole lot. I mean, they decide that, all right, Nott had learned in the last episode that war has been declared, so they're looking to kind of get out of town. So they talk to, these headmasters, and they say, well, we're going to be at either the Pillow Trove or the Leaky Tap. That's where you can find us. They go back to the Pillow Trove. Jester's really hoping that her package has finally arrived.
Well, even before that, though, like, the one thing that is worth noting is, like, Yasha and Beauregard, they tipped their hand early. They let these influential, powerful people know that they have information that probably they shouldn't. I mean, they try to cover the tracks a little bit, but I don't think they were buying it.
Well, I mean, when you drop knowledge that you really shouldn't have, sometimes I wonder whether Matt is like just going with the punches to see where things go,
or roll decks and that shit,
or like, okay, well, I'm gonna save this for later, and this is gonna be a plot point, so we'll see what happens.
That's true. But then, like you said, they're trying to figure out what they want to do. They want to go out on night of the town. Mollymauk is very much like, we should probably be gone by morning, and we should just flee the town. But the others are like, well, we got a couple things we should do first. Which that's going to come into play later. So they do end up getting a room at the treasure trove, like you said, as well as Jester's like pillow trove, and as well as Jester's like, my package, it should be here by now for my mom, and they go and look for that as well first.
So they realize that there is in fact a package waiting for Jester, and
nobody thought it was going to show up. Nobody,
including myself. I'm like, well, we kind of had gathered that she was kind of on her own at this point in time, but she gets a package and Jester totally drops the, oh yeah, my mom's name is Marianne or Marion, something along those lines, and it's like, most people don't know the Ruby of the Sea's real name, so just gotta keep that hush hush. And I was like, holy crap, she just like total gonna share this, no big deal.
Yeah, so the Ruby of the Sea, Marianne sent inks as well as perfume, the favorite perfume, and some cash and a sweet note.
Yeah, 200 gold, a letter, the perfume that is known for the Ruby of the Sea is known for wearing. So I'm certain that's going to come up at some point in time, in the future. As well as 3 different colored inks and 2 black inks. So we know Jester likes to draw and to paint and to do a whole bunch of stuff. So, I'm certain
she likes to be Jester. That's what
she likes to be Jester. Now, I'm wondering whether the inks have any magical qualities to them. I mean, we know that the Ruby of the Sea is quite influential and wealthy. So, she didn't test them. Typically, Caleb is detect magic on everything, but he kind of let that just kind of sit there. So I'm like, well, I wonder. So I'll score that in the back of my mind as to wait and see what happens, if anything.
So from there, at the Pillow Trove, they get 2 rooms, but then Caleb goes and gets a 3rd room, which Mollymauk actually makes it easy for him because he wanted to kind of do some things anyway on the DL with Beau, and he wanted to include Nott as well. And Mollymauk made it really easy because he's like, bring in the call dudes and call girls and food as well. and Travis is like, I'm not sticking around for this.
I want the massage. I want company, to conversation. And I'm not picky. Send me whoever.
Yeah, and we'll see where it goes from there. And then Fjord was like, wow. Yeah, this is getting weird. I'll take a piece of apple and head out. And then Cal was like, yeah, I think I'm just going to get my own room.
So he gets his own room, and he brings in Beau, and Nott. He actually does a cantrip to message Nott to have Beau, come over to the room, and here is when it actually gets interesting, and it's like, Liam asks can I ask everyone but Marisha and Sam to leave the table? And jaws drop, and it's like, wow, usually it's the DM who's asking for this kind of stuff, but the player to be like, nope, everybody out. I'm like, nice. So we wind up getting a massive tidbit of information in regards to Caleb's backstory.
Yeah, he drops some serious bombs there, and also there's a lot of really hardcore role playing that happens in that scene as well. We learned that Caleb was recruited by I guess it was the Hall of Erudition, as well as
Academy.
Yeah, as well as some other youngsters, and then they had a final test to go through to prove their loyalty to the Empire, and it was to murder their parents, basically.
Yeah,
and
we Caleb shares the memory of sneaking in on his parents and them talking about wanting to foster rebellion and do all of this kind of stuff, and it brought up all of this anger and hate, and he talks about going and killing this recruit's parents and this recruit's parents, and then the 3 of them get together and they move the wagon in front of the door to his parents' house and they set it ablaze. And as he's telling this, it's like, yeah, and I and I remember this false memory of my parents having this conversation that's like,
No, because he went into like a mental institution, an asylum, and
It was after the fact.
Yeah, after the fact, and that's when it was revealed that it was a false memory. That a person there like who was batshit crazy for whatever reason came up to him, was able to like help him with this thing, and then the thing that upsets him is like he's like the memories all still feel real to him, and at the time he really wanted to do it.
So it was totally crazy that he burned his parents alive, and it's why he hates fire, and he uses it, but he's not really happy about it.
It definitely stirs up some memories. So that was kind of a huge thing, and that was Beau's price for bringing him to the library, knowing she wanted to know why he doesn't like fire. What's his deal with that? And the reason he brought Nott in because she didn't know either, and Caleb has been the closest with Nott, so he didn't want to reveal information to Beau that Nott didn't have. So both of them came in and they kind of went through that together. And I guess from there, that's where the next day where the party kind of splits. They go to the what is it, Kobold Soul Library to go check out that. Well, the other group, they didn't actually have a plan, but the lore master sent for them.
Well, they were originally going to go to see Dolan to find out whether there was any information about the war and what have you. And before they can get too far, they come across a town crier talking about, war has been declared. It's like, well, we can check that plan out. I guess we'll go to the Leaky Tap, pick up our stuff, and that's where they wind up having an encounter where someone summons them to the lore master.
Yeah, and then they go and they're basically offered a job to kind of be like the town guard and take care of special missions and things like that. And there's a base pay of like whether you do anything or not. Here's 15 gold a week, or hey, there's bounties that range up to 10,000. And I'm guessing that 10,000 is actually probably for the gentleman, right? it is my guess. It could be somebody else,
right? Well, so they say, like, you can, offer protection for people in town, go off and hunt dangerous creatures, deliver messages, any of the variety of tasks that anything we ask you to do beyond just, being in town, we'll get you, a bounty, get you a price. And, they drop the first mission. We're not going to tell you what it is at this point in time, but it's paying 10,000 gold. And, like, I know, from the player perspective, some of them are like, we really like coin. We really like being able to, buy magic items and do stuff. And 10,000 gold is a lot of money. And I know that, it's causing a war of like, get out of town, a lot of money. Get out of town, a lot of money. So that definitely a lot. But since we knew that, Beau and Caleb weren't there, that they couldn't make the decision, right then and there as to what they wanted to do.
Well, they wouldn't have made the decision right then and there.
That's true.
They would have talked it over. Mollymauk is dead set against ties, and that would have been a big one. He's concerned about being conscripted. Caleb is definitely concerned about the Empire and being too deep in with them. Nott is going to do whatever Caleb does, but Nott would be very much into the money. She definitely is always about that. Like, they're going to turn on, the Knights of Requital for the money. She was willing to anyway. She's like, oh, this will be easy. I won't be heroes again. So there's that.
And I don't think Beau is, leaning to go any linkages to the Empire as well.
Yes, there's definitely some unspoken stuff going on there. But then that brings us over to the library where it's not like very exciting, but we just find out that Caleb is looking for information that will allow him to bend reality. So he finds stuff on time and he's starting to dig there a little bit. He kind of gets rushed out of there sooner than he would have liked.
Well, I mean, realistically, I think, Caleb would have stayed there forever if he was allowed to. Like, until I've read everything, I'm not willing to leave. Like, it's like, I want 2 hours. How about an hour? How about a half hour? Give 5 minutes. Come on.
True.
So from there, they all had agreed that at one point in time, they were going to head to Pumatzol's. As I said, every session that they're in Zadash, they're going to talk to Pumatzol. It's just going to happen. I think the players attach themselves to their favorite NPCs, and right now, Pumatzol's one of them.
And they're also out of healing potions, so there was that. But they did pick up a Pearl of Power.
So they got a Pearl of Power. Fjord does wind up going back and getting that cool shield. Nott picks up a pair of enchanted crossbow bolts that'll do an extra I think D6 or D8 fire damage when he shoots it. So lots of good stuff that happens there. Pearl of Power for 350 gold, I think is a steal.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Like, Matt's just handing out the magic items all willy-nilly.
I would love to sit down and have a conversation with him to see where he comes up with his price ranges, because I've seen, in this game as well as in I'm up to episode 47. I'm not making as much progress as I used to on the first campaign, and when they get into buying magic items, there's sometimes I'm like, are you kidding me? For that price you're going to sell that item? Totally blown away. Other times I feel like he's overcharging for some of the stuff. So it's like, it's interesting.
Dartboard. He's got a dartboard and a chimpanzee with prices on it.
That's just one of the many areas that I'd love to pick his brain about.
Well, maybe white panel van and we can have a discussion. Nerdarchy does not condone kidnapping
in any way, shape, or form.
So, and from there, like, the session kind of leaves off in a huge... Well, we get introduced to another NPC from Puman's Soul, kind of points them in the direction of a place where they can look for potions and herbal supplies, but they don't have, but she doesn't have what they need anyway because they've been cleaned out because of the coming war.
Right. So they wind up, staying over another night, and they're like, okay, do we just beat feet and get out of here, or do we, do we do a polite leaving,
polite decline,
yeah.
So
they opted for that. So they go to the lore master, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna say no. They try to get information on the merchant quarters to see if there's any armed escorts that might be needed, and that wound up being a bust. It's like, yeah, they're kind of thrown for a loop by what's going on, so they're like, wait a week, wait several days, and maybe. When they go to the lore master, they wind up finding out that what specifically they want, what they were going to get job wise, even though originally he had said that we won't tell you what it is unless you say yes. And it's like, you have to go after the hawker, and it's like, this is interesting. And they wind up going into like more detail about who this person is and what would need to be done to bring him in. It's 10,000 gold if they bring him in alive, 5,000 if they bring him in dead. And like now they're torn. And like we need to think again. We were gonna decline, but we don't necessarily want to decline now. And then when they leave, the gentleman's personages approaches them and says, we got a job for you too. So it's like, oh man, they are spoiled with choice options at the moment,
and they all seem to be kind of pointing towards keeping them in Zadash. So I will see what happens next week. If they turn down all the offers, accept all of the offers, who knows what's going to happen. What do you guys think is going to happen? We got a place where you can talk about that. That is down in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can check out the store over on nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.